In the video Loose Change, the narrator points out how there was a second explosion 9 seconds after American Airlines Flight 11 hit the North Tower. Listen close to that second explosion.
Ginny Carr was attending a business meeting on the 36th floor of One Liberty Plaza across the street from the World Trade Center and caught the entire first attack on tape. A second explosion can be heard 9 seconds after the crash.
Sound like something crashed.
Here is part of an interview with an employee who worked in the North Tower.
So what happened in the North Tower? Ask Willie Rodriguez. Willie, a janitor who worked in the World Trade Center for 20 years, was in sub-level 1 when the North Tower was hit.
And all of a sudden we hear boom! I thought it was a generator that blew up in the basement. And I said to myself, oh my God, I think it's a generator. And I was going to verbalize it. When I finished saying that in my mind, I hear boom! Right on the top, pretty far away. So it was a difference between coming from the basement and coming from the top.
Listen to this part of Willie's interview when he explains what another person says about the elevators.
Everybody started screaming, and a person comes running into the office saying, explosion, explosion, explosion. He got his hand extended, and all the skin was pulled from his under his arm, all the way to the top of the fingertips, and he was hanging on both arms. Hanging and hanging. And then I look at his face, and he was missing parts on his face. And I said, what happened? What happened? And he said, the elevators, the elevators.
Listen to the audio again of the plane hitting the tower and the second explosion 9 seconds after the crash.
Sound like something crashed.
The plane hit the North Tower about the 92nd floor. And based on what Willie says...
And I said, what happened? What happened? And he said, the elevators, the elevators. And all of a sudden we hear boom! I thought it was a generator that blew up in the basement. And I said to myself, oh my God, I think it's a generator. And I was going to verbalize it. When I finished saying that in my mind, I hear boom! Right on the top, pretty far away. So it was a difference between coming from the basement and coming from the top.
Listen once again to the initial hit and the explosion 9 seconds after the crash.
Sound like something crashed.
If I had to describe that second explosion, I would describe it as an explosion in a can.
Sound like something crashed.
So how long would it take for an engine to fall 92 floors down an elevator shaft and crash to the bottom of the elevator shaft on the lobby floor?
The elevators, the elevators.
Here's how it happened. When the plane hit the North Tower, it went almost perfectly level straight into the building. It landed on its both engines, sliding across the floor, crashing through the elevator bank, and severing any cables of elevators that were below the 92nd floor. When that happened, both engines each fell in their own separate elevator shafts, breaking them off, sending them down. One engine, I'm going to say the right engine, fell down to the lobby floor and crashed. That's the explosion you heard on the audio. The left engine kept going up to 6 levels lower than where Willie Rodriguez was standing. He was in sub-level 1. He never heard the plane hit the building because he would have said, oh, just after I heard the plane hit the building, then I heard... so he didn't hear the plane hit the building. He was in sub-level 1. He was in the basement. So all he heard was The first thing he heard was the explosion in the basement, and then he heard the echo that had to travel through doorways and passageways to get to him from the lobby floor from the first engine that hit the elevator shaft in the lobby floor. So when he said pretty far away, he could also have been talking about that the sound was different because there was doorways in between him and the sound, so the echo had to travel through and it lost some sound. So it sounded lower than the first one, so the first one might have been further away, but it was louder because there was nothing blocking the sound between him and the explosion.
So what happened in the North Tower? Ask Willie Rodriguez. Willie, a janitor who worked in the World Trade Center for 20 years, was in sub-level 1 when the North Tower was hit.
And all of a sudden we hear boom! I thought it was a generator that blew up on the basement. And I said to myself, oh my God, I think it's a generator. And I was going to verbalize it. When I finished saying that in my mind, I hear boom! Right on the top, pretty far away. So it was a difference between coming from the basement and coming from the top.
There is one question I've been asking people like this ever since it happened. Keep claiming there was explosives planted in the towers, but I keep asking and nobody has answered me yet. They all just turn away and walk away because they don't know what to say, because I ask, if there was explosives planted in the towers, then why, when the plane crashed through the tower and caused an explosion, that explosion did not cause explosives to explode? Answer me that, and then maybe you'll change my mind. That's just one example of me answering his questions and proving him wrong. In my book, Lifting Up the Couch Cushions, Exposing the Loose Change, I prove him wrong 100% of the time. I answer every question he has. There's a link here on YouTube. You can go ahead and click it. It's in my channel page, and it's exposingtheloosechange.com. The book is amazing. It tells a lot more than that. You're going to be surprised. Go ahead, check it out. Check out the website, and there's a little bit more information on there. Take it easy.